A quick video on Photoshop basics. Go ahead and open your Photoshop, and then no matter whether you're on Mac or Windows, this video applies to both of those. This is the basic of the Photoshop. Here on the right hand side you have the layer area, which I will get to it in a moment. And then you have your color area over here, which are adjustable. You can remove them or add to these panels later. And then over here you have your selection tools, your brushes, erasers, and then the text tools, and then you have the gradient tools, you have shape tools, zoom tools, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we'll get down to it one by one. Okay, and then the very first thing you need to do is that you either import an image, just like I have an image here, and then I want to import it here in Photoshop. I just drag it in and it creates the workspace for me. And as you can see, I have it here on my layer panels as well, and then I can start working on it, whatever I want to do. The other way, yeah, and if you, let's say if you import another photo, it either imports it on the current workspace, or you have the option to drag it into the Photoshop icon here down here, and it will create a new project. So right now you have two tabs here, okay, and you can start working with them individually or eventually mix them all together. The other way of importing is through file, and then you have open, and then you navigate to where your pictures are, and then you click open and it opens right up here. If however you want to open a project that is blank, you go to file, new, and then here is your basic setups, and you give it a name, and then you choose what size you want it to be. You either can choose from one of these presets, or you could give it your own custom width and height and resolution. Okay, we're gonna be focusing this Photoshop tutorials only for image preparation for websites. So 300 resolution is usually high, so I recommend putting on 72, which is the basic uh, image resolution for the web, or you can either put it on 100 if you want, doesn't matter. 72 is pretty standard, so let's stick with that one. And then I choose what is the size and width and height, and I just click OK. You can either select your background content to be white or be transparent, so it doesn't have anything, like it has no background. Okay, so if I click transparent and I click OK, it gives me no background. Okay, this is very important. Okay, but whereas if I go to new and I select this as white, it will give me a white background, so whatever that I have will be with a white background. Okay, pretty simple. And then for saving, it's pretty simple. Control S or Command S on Mac, and then it will bring up, we already saved this, so right now I have this project and I want to save it. So I go to File, Save As, and then I navigate to wherever I want to put it. I'm right here. Let's say I want to go to my desktop and create a PSD file. PSD stands for Photoshop files, so later on you can open them and do editing. If you however wanted to export your project as an image, which is actually what we're going to be using to implement those images into websites, we're going to change the format here. Okay, so right now it's set to Photoshop. You can either put it on JPEG or PNG. If you set it on JPEG, it will have a white background. It will have a background no matter what, okay? But if you set it to PNG, it won't. If your picture doesn't have background and the background is transparent, it wouldn't have background when it's exported, okay? And we'll see an example, and that will clear things up. Okay, and so right now I'm just gonna save test.psd on my desktop and then click save. Alright, and I'm gonna close the other one with the white background. So I'm just gonna have this guy right here. The very first thing you might want to know is to how to resize this. Okay, maybe you cannot give it the width and height by numbers. You have a tools over here which is called crop tool, or you can press C to activate this tool. It's very simple. So I click on it and it gives me a tool here that I can adjust my workspace or my image, let's say. Okay, I can make it smaller, I can make it bigger, and notice that as I click and hold, it gives me the exact size on the right corner on that pop-up. You see right now it's 6" and 5" 4". It tells me exactly what is the measurement. Okay, and then you have few options here, which is unconstrained, or you can place original. Okay, original ratio, when you do this, it does a ratio crop for you, so it does the width and height together. Okay, no matter if I do this, it does the width and height together to make sure that the image keeps the ratio. Okay, however, if you didn't want that, you just put it on unconstrained, and then you can adjust it manually, so the width and height are not affected, they are affected individually. Okay, and this is very basic stuff. So once you find your exact size, you just click enter, and that should do it. Okay, there's this tools that I wanted to talk about in this video, and the brush tools. Maybe the brush tool is very easy. You can either press B or click on this guy right here, and it will give you a brush. Okay, from here you will choose your color. So right now I have selected only web colors. Okay, so it only gives me the colors that are actually rendered fine on a browser. So I'm gonna just choose one color right here and click OK, and then I can start painting. Okay, if I wanted to change my brush size, I go over here. I have a brush panel I can open. I can select my brushes. I also have downloaded a lot of brushes, so alongside with the standard brushes comes a lot of other ones, like this guy, Dry Eyes. Okay, so if I close this and then I make it a little bit smaller, okay, let's say I wanted to make the size this big, yeah, and I click and it gives me an eye. See, I'll close that. Okay, and then I can do a lot of things with this. I can select this, I can rotate it, I can make another eye next to it, and there are a lot of cool brushes that you can download, and then you can start working with them. Okay, so this one, for example, will give me a grid. Okay, we'll get down to brushes in a more detailed video, but for now, just a basic. I'm just gonna always put it on the very basic one, which is this guy or this one. Okay, and then you have your eraser. You draw something, it's not nice, you want to erase it, so you click on this one or the command E. I find it easier to memorize this shortcuts key, and then you just click those rather than hovering your mouse over left and right all again and again. And then so right now I pressed E, or I clicked on this guy and I have a brush. Notice my brush size is very small, so I go to the same spot and then choose a bigger brush, or I can adjust the size here. Okay, it gives me a preview of how big this size is. Okay, so let's say I have this guy and I maybe bring down the hardness a little bit. Okay, as you see, the opacity around the brush kind of decreases. Okay, and it makes it a little bit blurry, so when I do it, it's not that bulky and solid. And you also have the opacity, how bright you want it to be. It could be I'm sorry, this is spacing. It gives you space between. Right now we are on a eraser, so you wouldn't see unless I erase things. As you can see, it leaves out the space between the dots. Okay, maybe if I select a brush it will be more clear. So if I select this guy and the spacing, increase and do this, see, it does dotted brushing. Okay, and so for now I'm just gonna erase everything. I can either do this, or I can go to my selection, go to my brush setting, make the size bigger, spacing, no spacing, hardness, nothing, and then right now I have a big brush, I can do it faster. Okay, this is the basic of the brush. And then you have, let's see, you have the colors. Okay, let's say you import an image. So I just imported an image. Right now I can select the ratios as well. Okay, so this is good for me. I'm gonna press enter to apply that. Now I have another layer. Notice I have one layer down here and I have one layer up here. Okay, so right now I want to change the color of this one. Okay, so I have this layer selected. I cannot have this layer selected. I have to select this layer and then change the color. For example, right now if you hover over, it says brightness, levels, curves, exposure, and then goes on and goes on. Okay, so let's say brightness. I select brightness and I can, change the brightness. Very simple. Okay, now let's say these are all kind of effects that you can do, and there are applications out there, like, I don't know, there are a bunch of applications, for example on iPhone or Instagram. When they do color effect, it's all of those application is somehow a combination of these guys right here. Okay, is the Photoshop is the most comprehensive one. Okay, it has everything. So let's say I want to change the level. Okay, you can get any effects here by a good combination, and there is actually a lot of courses just to teach you how to combine these guys together. It could get very messy if you have too many effects and your image won't have a lot of quality, so it's good to have a good logic when you're applying these color gradients. Okay, and right now I applied brightness and level, and as you can see they applied two more layers to this image. Okay, so I can either turn this off or on. This is another basic stuff on layers. You can turn off a layer or turn it on. Okay, I turn this one off, for example, and it goes away. Okay, so for now I'm just going to get rid of this. You can click and then hit trash, delete, and then level, brightness, and I'm left with my original image. Okay, so right now I want to apply a color only to this guy, not to the background. What should I do? We have something called the selection tool. The selection tool is the most important, almost the most important items on Photoshop. Okay, if you know how to do selection, you will be very good at Photoshop. There are actually bunch of selection tools that we have. We have quick selection tool, magic wand tool, we have the shape selection and the lasso tools and a whole lot of bunch of stuff that we can use to select these guys right here. Okay, in the next video I'm gonna get onto the selection tool.